Good morning and welcome back to Planet Doug. It's a bit of a travel day today, but not a travel day. It is a travel day to run errands. My plans kind of fell apart because I just took the ferry from Sumatra to Malaysia, but as I was going through immigration in Indonesia and Malaysia, I got an unpleasant surprise. I guess I lost track of it. I was tracking my passport and how many pages were left, but I guess I looked away for a couple of months and I discovered that when I went through immigration in Indonesia, they put a stamp on my last page. And then when I got to Malaysia, they stamped the last page as well. So basically my entire passport technically is not full. There's still empty spaces throughout, but because every page has a stamp on it, it's really not usable anymore, because most countries, they have a rule on the books that you have to have at least one, usually 2 or 3 empty pages in your passport. You can't show up at immigration and hand them a passport that has no blank pages. They may not let you in. So when I realized that, I thought, oh, I have to renew my passport. So now I'm in the middle of arranging that, and I have to go to Kuala Lumpur, go to the Canadian Embassy and apply for a new passport. And I think it's going to take somewhere between 1 and 2 months for me to get the new passport. I don't know, that's what I was told, that it could take that long. But I have to do it, and I figure I might as well get it done, get it out of the way right now. So I'm going to Kuala Lumpur by local bus and then local train. I've done this before. It's not an easy trip, especially the first time. You have to figure out all the various stages, but I figured I might as well record it on video and take you along with me. So step number 1, hit the bathroom here before I go out. Then I have to walk like maybe half a kilometer to the bus station and then hop on a local bus and take that bus to a city called Seremban. And at Seremban, I hope to get dropped off at the KTM train station and then take the KTM to Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a long journey. Every journey has stages. Stage 1 complete, packing and organizing. Yeah, I was actually watching a live stream from another YouTuber, American Hobo. He's been doing a daily live stream. The guy is a YouTuber machine. He posts a video every day and does a live stream every day at 10 a.m. Malaysia time. So yeah, very productive YouTuber there. Anyway, I was on his live stream this morning and people were talking about packing and what a chore it is. And I said that I was the opposite. I really enjoy packing. I like the systematic nature of it, sort of housekeeping, you're organizing and putting everything in its proper place, in its proper bag. I don't know, I like the methodical, slow process, assuming you have enough time. But one problem with that, I'm here in Port Dickson, by the way, just walking. There I am again. When you're shooting video, you become such a dummy. Your brain is so focused on the video that you forget what you're doing. And I was going to cross the street because I thought the bus station was over there. But then I caught myself. No, the bus station is downtown. It's over here. And I discovered this shortcut I wasn't aware of before, this little road here. Instead of going all the way down the road here and going through that busy intersection, if you're on foot or a bicycle, you can just scoot down here behind the fire station. But one thing about packing, it gets very complicated when you're switching modes of travel. And I've been doing that so much. So then it becomes a little bit more difficult because I'm packed for cycling. I'm not packed for backpacking. So now that I'm not bringing my bicycle to Kuala Lumpur, I have to sort of reorganize and repack everything from cycling to just having a little knapsack, and I don't have a big enough backpack, so I've got this handbag. That's basically my luggage, and it works, but it's not ideal. I would rather have a larger backpack and carry all of that on my back, because the thin strap cuts into my fingers. Anyway, I don't have the right gear for walking around a city. I have the right gear for cycling around the city. But then when you leave your bike behind and go for a walk, well, suddenly, things get complicated. And then packing is a bit more of a chore. And my room there at the place where I was staying was so hot, miserably hot. It just cooks you. So I was exhausted and just drenched in sweat by the time I finished packing up for this little trip. But anyway, that was stage 1, packing, all done. Stage 2, the bus to Seremban. And I think I'm more or less heading in the direction of the bus station. The buses here are confusing because there's no information at the bus station. I've done this before, and there's no boards, there's no signs, there's nobody there, there's nobody to talk to. So you kind of have to walk up to each bus individually and ask the driver, it's like, where are you going? I haven't been able to get information about which bus to take or when they leave, so I just show up and see what happens. Something else that might be interesting is that when I took this bus, the last times I've taken it, they had the old buses. And I commented on video about how loud they were because everything on the bus had shaken loose. All the bolts, all the welds, everything on the bus was loose. So it just rattled, like, it was so loud. You couldn't even hear yourself think when you're sitting in the bus. But all the buses have been replaced with cute little pink buses now. And I'm curious what it's like to ride in one of these pink buses. And I read online, some people said these buses, sometimes they don't go for an hour and a half. So hopefully my timing is good and I get the Seremban bus without having to wait an hour and a half, because it's pretty hot. It is hot. So there's the bus station. And I've wandered all over this bus station in the past. I've gone up to the second floor, third floor, thinking, at the very first time I took it, I thought I had to buy a bus ticket. I was looking for a ticket window, looking for an office, looking for anybody, and there's really nothing. And bustling Port Dickson, as I always say, it is the busiest tiny town in the world. There's so much traffic. It's crazy. You think there'd be nobody here because it's such a small place, but the roads can be quite busy. So we got a Terminal 1 Port Dickson bus, N53. We've got a N30A, that might be mine. And then we have a N32. I better ask. Hello. Do you go to the Seremban KTM Station? Yep, okay. So far so good. It appears I got lucky because, as I said, I've done this in the past where I've come to this station and there were no buses here. Like, it was completely empty. And I showed up now and every one of the bus lanes was full. And I asked the driver, does he go to Seremban and to the KTM station? And he nodded. He didn't tell me his life story or give me details beyond that, but he nodded, so apparently I'm heading in the right direction. I think this is N30A. I took a picture from the front of the bus. And I just got new name cards for Planet Doug printed, and I got them done here at Boston PD in Port Dickson. They made my original cards, which I just threw together on my laptop in like 2 minutes. I didn't know what I was doing. And then for this card, I went for a different approach. A few months ago, I guess, I stumbled across some I guess people were sharing these cartoon images that everybody discovered that they could use ChatGPT to upload a photo of themselves, and then ChatGPT would make a cartoon of them. Oh, we're touring Port Dickson. There's the Paklang Kopitiam. Great place to have breakfast or lunch. And yeah, the streets of Port Dickson. Yeah, Port Dickson has many different faces. The weekday face, which is what we're looking at now because it's a Tuesday, and then the weekend when it's much busier and all the out-of-towners come for the weekend. But yeah, it always looks different depending on the day of the week. Well, I was saying that because everybody was getting cartoons made of themselves, I uploaded a photo of me riding my bicycle, and ChatGPT made a cartoon of me. The geometry is all wrong in the image, I realized later. It doesn't make sense in the physical world, but unless you look really carefully, you might not even notice. So I used that cartoon for the front of my new card. There it is. Just says Planet Doug and has my cartoon image on it. And it kind of looks like YouTube because I used the YouTube play button. And then trying to keep up with the times, I put a QR code on the back, and the QR code will take you to Planet Doug on YouTube. And we're going right by where I've been staying, so this is the wedding venue right here. I probably could have picked up the bus right here if I just wanted to wait at the side of the road, but I didn't feel like doing that. And now we're already on our way. This went a lot faster and a lot smoother than I expected. Oh, and so far, yeah, the bus is a lot quieter. It's making no rattling sounds, no banging or crashing sounds, anything like that. And stage 2 complete. There goes my bus, my pink bus, N30A. And this is the train station over here. It was all under construction last time I was here. It looks like they're still renovating. And looking at the time, yeah, timing is okay. Could have been better. According to the online schedule, there's a train, KTM train to Kuala Lumpur at 12:46, 1:46, 2:46, etc. And I'm here at basically 1 o'clock. So I just missed the 12:46 train, and I have 45 minutes to wait until the 1:46 train arrives, assuming the online schedule is correct. And in my experience, they're all updated and like down to the minute. They're pretty accurate. So yeah, this is my home for the next 45 minutes. They have bathrooms over there and some seating inside, and maybe I can find a cup of coffee. Oh, they've got some cold drinks over there, so I can do that. Failing anything else? Oh, 7-Eleven right across the road. If they have seating inside, that might be the place to go. It's pretty hot today. I have my ticket already. They have machines here. I think you can just scan on your way in. If you have like a touch and go card, you can just tap it and go in. But anytime I see a machine, I'd love to try it out just to see whether I can get it to work or not. And I was able to book a one-person, one-way ticket from Seremban Station to KL Sentral. It was 8.7 ringgit, and I paid with touch and go on my phone. Very, very handy. I'm absolutely in love with touch and go. It runs my entire life in Malaysia. So I got my ticket printed out. I remember the first time I did this, I was so confused though, because I thought I was buying a ticket on like a regular train. So I assumed the ticket would have the time of the train on it, but it isn't. This is actually this is a commuter train. You're essentially buying a ticket on a subway train that runs above ground. So I have a ticket, but it's not for any particular train. Like any train that shows up here, I can just get on it. So I was sort of always looking, it's like, hey, what time? And I was all confused. But now you have to find out when the train is and make sure you're on the tracks waiting for that train to show up. That's the secret here. But I'm going to confirm when the next train is and go bother the poor woman at the window. She's like, "Ah, you people, can't you figure out anything on your own?" But I did figure it out on my own. I downloaded the schedule, I checked online, I double checked, I triple checked, but I still want to confirm with a human being if I can, or see if they have a schedule posted. Let's go take a look. Yeah, since this whole place is under construction or being renovated, the ticket window is actually inside a shipping container. It's been in here for years, I think, inside this shipping container. But so these are the schedules online. This is what you see online. And they update them pretty frequently. And it takes a while to figure them out, all the different ones. But as long as you just make a cup of coffee, relax, and work the system, you can eventually figure it out. So this is the one I want. And I'm here at Seremban. And these are the trains. So that's the one I just missed, 12:46. The next one is at 1:46. And then it arrives in KL Sentral at 20 after 3. So 2 hours, 15 minutes to get to KL. And there I switched to the monorail to get to my hotel. Yeah, this train goes all the way from Pulau Sebang, starting point, and then Batu Caves is the other end. And the top part is from Batu Caves to here, going through KL Sentral, and this one is starting at Pulau Sebang, going through KL Sentral to Batu Caves. So you got to figure all this out. It's actually not that complicated, but the first time you see it online, it can be a bit bewildering. It's actually not that hot today, so I think I'm going to just grab this a drink from here, these people over here. The 7-Eleven, they probably don't have any seating anyway, so if I knew they had seating, I would head across this busy road, but I don't really know, so I'm just going to settle down here, get a cold drink.
Yes, hello brother, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Just a cold drink.
Cold drink?
Yeah. One.
Cold drink, you want what kind of drink? We got grape here.
Okay.
We got extra juice here. His name is extra juice. It's a sachet like this. It's more like an energy drink.
Oh, I see. Since this is ready, I'll just have the grape.
Okay.
If you have some ice with it?
Yeah.
You do? That would be great. Touch and go is okay?
Yeah.
3 ringgit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yep.
Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you.
Alright, thank you.
There it is, my purple drink. Yeah, I can just grab a seat here on the bench. I love being the master of a system like touch and go. And I love doing things a second time and a third time. Like, again, this morning I was on the live stream from the American Hobo. And on a previous live stream, I think they were talking about backtracking. And I talked about this on a video when I was in Sumatra, that cyclists in general hate backtracking. Like if you ride 20 kilometers down a road and then you find out it's the wrong road and you have to ride 20 kilometers back over the same road a second time, cyclists hate that more than anything, and I can understand that. But at the same time, like when I was on my last bike trip, I went up into the hills of Sumatra and I just turned around and came back down the same road, and I enjoyed it immensely. I kind of like backtracking because you're seeing familiar ground, but you're seeing it from a different direction, from a different perspective. Rather than coming up the road, now you're seeing it going down the road, and you see it in a whole new light. And you see new things everywhere that you didn't notice on your first trip. Plus, since you're doing it a second time, you're not as focused on logistics, like where you're going, where you are, how long it's going to take. You've got all that figured out already. You've done it once already, and you just sort of, your brain shifts into another gear, and you just relax more, and then you just enjoy everything around you. So the fact that I've come to this train station before, ridden this exact same train before, taken that same bus before. I'm backtracking, but there's no pressure this time. There's no stress at all. And I can just relax and really enjoy myself. Nice. Just a light grape drink. They have ice there. And I just love being skilled at using touch and go. I use touch and go to buy the train ticket, 8.7 ringgit. I use touch and go to buy this. You don't have to worry about having the right change all the time. Every couple of days, you just put a couple hundred ringgit onto your touch and go account, and then you just go out into the world, and you don't really have to worry about, oh, do you have change? I don't have change. How much is it? And how do I pay for it? Yeah, I love touch and go. Yeah, I had my usual Planet Doug small adventures yesterday. I was in Port Dickson and getting organized for this trip into town. I did all my laundry, put all my dirty clothes into the same bag I have here. And they have a really nice laundromat downtown Port Dickson. So I went there to do my laundry. Touch and go, those machines normally have to put money into the machine and buy tokens. But they've upgraded the machines now. And now you can actually buy your tokens using the power of touch and go right on the machine. That was amazing. So I'm in the middle of washing and drying my clothes, and as often happens to me, I was suddenly hit with really bad stomach cramps because I don't know. I have a weak system, I guess. I get sick all the time, and I suddenly found myself in a lot of pain, needing a bathroom like right away. And I was in a lot of trouble because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it back to my guest house before disaster strikes. And I thought I'd try. My clothing wasn't dry yet, but I knew I had to get out of there fast. This was an emergency. So I'm all bent over, I'm crouched, I'm in agony, I'm stumbling to the dryer, taking all my wet clothes out of the dryer, packing it into my bag, and I figure, well, I'm just going to have to hobble back to my guest house, or not guest house, the venue where I was staying, and just try to make it there, get into a bathroom. But as soon as I stepped out of the laundromat, I knew there's no way I'm not going to make it. The very first business I saw, I didn't even know what it was. It looked a little bit like a sewing thing. I didn't want to bother the poor people, but I had no choice. It was either that or drop my pants in the alley. Like literally, it was that urgent. And I went in there all doubled over. And I said to the woman at the counter, it's like, excuse me, can you do me a favor? If you have a bathroom in the back here, can I use it? You know, please, please, please. And they were very kind people. And they said, oh, yes, go. Use our bathroom. I go into the back room and there's like 5 women there working on sewing machines. They all look up startled, like, who the heck are you and why are you back here? And then the bathroom was this tiny closet where they built a shelf out that blocked the door into the bathroom. So it's like this narrow, you have to kind of unlatch this door and you got to turn yourself sideways and scoot in on an angle, and very tight space. And I just made it. Just barely made it. And I've faced that situation so many times in my life. It's really annoying, but it's just the way life is for me. But man, getting that bathroom in the nick of time, that really saved my neck. And when I left, I walked by the women at the front desk and a man there. And the man was actually quite concerned about me because I looked in really rough shape when I went in. And then he looked up at me and says, are you okay, sir? Are you okay? And I was like, yes, I'm fine now. And I said, you guy, you saved my life. Thank you so much. And then I went out. Yeah. So because of that, being really sick and knowing I had to travel today, I didn't eat anything yesterday. I ate nothing for the whole day. I ate nothing for breakfast this morning. I'm not going to have lunch. I'm not going to have dinner. I don't dare eat. I just can't. And that's a fact of my life, I'm afraid. But I can drink. So I'm having a cold drink. But there's no way I can have something to eat and risk being on a 2-hour train ride with no access to bathrooms. I just can't risk it. So I suppose that's why I'm relatively svelte, or in other words, I'm not fat at this age in my life, because I don't have regular eating habits. I'm sure if I ate 3 times a day, every day, like a normal person, I would be tubbier. But because I have such unusual eating habits, keeps me slimmer than I should be, I suppose. Time to head for the track. Just used the bathroom, and if I have everything figured out, the train is coming at 1:46 and it is 1:35, so 10 minutes. I'm not sure what track I need to go to, but there will be information, I'm sure. We scan our code. There we go. To platform 2 and 3. Yeah, you can see all of the work being done. This whole place is just being torn to pieces. New buildings, new tracks, new everything. I don't know. We have to go up and I remember this now. When I was here last time and I was running late, I was going down those steps and I suddenly had to go at a run, and there's all these people sitting on the stairs, I remember, so I couldn't hold on to the handrail, and on my way down I tripped and nearly went flat on my face when I got it to the bottom. Now, hopefully, a sign here tells me which train is mine. Kuala Lumpur, KL Sentral?
Next train, sir.
Probably over there. Okay, thank you. Where does this one go?
This is going to Seremban.
Okay, thanks. I didn't think that was my train. I don't know if it matters, but your bag is open. The zipper? This one there?
Thank you.
Okay. So I always walk to the far end of the platform, thinking it will be the emptiest part of the train. And I don't know if this barrier means the train comes to here and stops, but anyway, I'm kind of near the end of the platform. I find this new QR code system fascinating from like an economic or like organizational point of view, because in the old days, of course, you would come down to a train platform or a train station like this. Here's the platform, and you would expect to find schedules, signs, like maybe even a digital display telling you what train is coming and the times, and that's all very expensive to maintain. And now they've replaced all of that with a QR code. So what I did, I scanned that code, and it actually opens up a train schedule for this platform. Like, it's not the train system, it's whatever trains are coming exactly to platform number 3. And there's mine, train 2034, coming at 1:46, 1 minute from now. So it's pretty amazing when you think about it, because rather than having one schedule covering the whole train system, they can specify that this QR code is for platform 3, that QR code is for platform 2, etc. And I love the simplicity and the efficiency of that system, but at the same time, you, the customer, like the expense has been placed on you. So you have to buy a smartphone, you have to have a data plan, and then you have to scan the QR code and read it. So it's a very good system, but it's also a very sneaky way to lose a lot of expensive budget items from their budget because they don't have to put up digital displays. We buy our own digital display. They don't have to pay for data transfer, electricity. We have to pay for all of that as the customer. Do you see what I mean? Kind of a sneaky way to save money, but it is, I think it's of benefit to the customer. But as a customer, you have to stay up to date. If you don't stay up to date with smartphones, QR codes, touch and go e-wallets, you just get left behind and you can't take advantage of all the new systems. But just waiting for the train to show up. Here comes a train. And what number is it? It's heading to Batu Caves, so that must be mine. But there was an announcement, something about this train, and I think they were saying that it was supposed to come to platform 3, but they changed it to platform 2. And as you can see, it's just it basically looks like a commuter train, like you're on the subway. There's no assigned seating. There are some regular seats in certain cars. You can see them there. But most of them are bench seats like this. Yeah, I'm back on a familiar ground. Looks like this train started here at Sungai Gadut. Went 2 stops. Here we are in Seremban. And then we're going all the way to KL Sentral. And then this train is continuing all the way to Batu Caves and back again. So KL Sentral, I switch over to the monorail. Midpoint of stage 3. Well, no, I guess this is the end of stage 3. The stage 1 packing, stage 2 bus to Seremban, stage 3 KTM train to KL Sentral. We just arrived. There's my train. I just got off. Ice cold on that train, by the way. You could bring along a parka or a sleeping bag and bundle yourself up. So this train is heading up to Batu Caves right now. And it is 4 o'clock. So yeah, leaving at 1:46. So it's essentially 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the reason the train took so long, like it takes 2 hours, is it like when it arrives in a station, because of other trains, because of scheduling, it just sits at the station for 15, 20 minutes or so. Like, it doesn't take 2 hours to cover that distance, but it waits for a long time at each station. And there we are, the power of the QR code. Or, yeah, I guess that's the QR code. Huh, that one's even, let's scan it. There we go, opened up, to let me out. And this is KL Sentral. The new Central Mall is over there. And then you get on the LRT line here, the Kelana Jaya line. That's what I would normally do. I would normally just duck into here for the LRT. But since I'm going to a new hotel, today it's all about the monorail. And to get to the monorail, you have to walk through the shopping mall. So you leave KL Sentral and you go through the new Central Mall. And this is the airport transit here. So it's all based here. KLIA Transit, the fast express train that goes to the airport. And then it connects with the KTM intercity trains and with the LRT, MRT system. So that's all here. But you got to go for a little bit of a stroll to get to the monorail. And the airport buses leave from here too. And from here, assuming I have money on my Touch and Go card, I have the power of the Touch and Go card to get into the monorail. So let's see how this goes. To see how much money I have on the card. Looked like I had 48 ringgit on the card, so I'm a wealthy man at the moment. And here's the MRT, or the monorail system. We're down here, KL Sentral, and we are going all the way to the top to Chow Kit, second to last station. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stops. Here comes the monorail, the train. It's one of my favorite things in KL. I remember telling the American hobo, well, I tell everybody actually, to ride on the monorail at least once. You can look out the window and get kind of an inexpensive tour of the city from the elevated tracks. You pass through Little India right here, then you go through Chinatown and Bukit Bintang. Yeah, I get a kick out of the monorail. Slow and steady, but interesting. The monorail train arrived, but it's been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for a long time here on the station. So I just decided to get off and wait for the next one, because all the time that we've been waiting here, it just filled up with people and started to get really crowded. And because we were waiting for so long, there's going to be a big buildup of people at every single station along the way. So I had a feeling that that train was going to get super jammed. So I took a chance and just got off. And hopefully the next train comes quickly and there won't be a delay. Oh, that was kind of cool. Did you see how the tracks shifted from one side to the other? That's how it moves the trains from side to side. One funny thing is that since I was waiting for the next train, I took advantage of the time to change the battery in the GoPro. So I dismantled the whole GoPro and the media mod, which you have to do to get the battery out. But what I've done now is I put a doubled up piece of thread, like sewing thread, underneath the battery when I put it into the GoPro. So because the batteries all swell up, I can't get it out of the camera. But now I have that piece of thread, and I grab the thread and then pull it up and use it to pull the battery out of the GoPro, and it actually worked. So there's a GoPro hack for you. Yeah, it worked out just as I thought. This second train just came into the station, picked people up, and then turned around and went right back out again. So the train ahead of me will be really, really crowded with all the people who are waiting. And this one should be just regularly crowded, I guess. This side, we're going alongside the Klang River, and we're eventually going to cross over the Klang and get onto the other side, but we go alongside it for now. And I've forgotten the names of all these places, but we're going to be passing by a very nice temple here, Hindu temple in Little India. Right there. It's always nice to get get up a little bit higher to see these places from an elevated track. Yeah, the famous KL highway system. Impenetrable to cyclists, but very good for drivers, I guess, once they figure it all out. This is the bridge. Goes across the clay. Passing through Chinatown, just on the bottom edges of it. Famous clan house right there. Again, I can't remember the name of it. But we're also going right beside the Merdeka 118 building right there. There's another temple here, famous historic one. And the Merdeka 118, my favorite building. Some of the skyline of KL, the Petronas Towers. Oh yeah, right by the Merdeka 118 still. Basically going around it. This is a very popular, very large mosque here in KL. Nice shot with it and Merdeka 118. One of the MRT lines down there, the LRT lines. For me, this is one of the landmarks in Kuala Lumpur, the giant police station. They all have the same blue color scheme. It's one of the first buildings I noticed when I came here years ago. Sort of a landmark for me. And now we are passing through like Imbi. Berjaya Times Square is here, and the Loyat Plaza is just across the road there. And that's the Berjaya Times Square shopping mall over here. It's one of the larger ones in Asia. Has a fully self-contained amusement park on the inside with roller coasters, things like that. There's the exchange building, TRX Exchange. That's where all the money flows through. And there's the newest mall in KL is located next to that tower, the TRX Exchange Mall. Very fancy place. And now we're heading into Bukit Bintang. Very well-known place for foreigners. There you can just see the top of the pavilion. That's the pavilion shopping mall. I've arrived at Chow Kit station. So everything you see around me now is all Chow Kit, and I'm not quite sure, I'm not oriented yet, so I don't know exactly where my hotel is. And I've had negative experiences with Google Maps a lot, like for a long time, where the little blue dot that's supposed to show the direction that you're facing doesn't point in the right direction. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but according to my blue dot, like the way I'm standing right now, pointing in that direction, I'm facing my hotel. So I have to get to that side of the street. But for all I know, this could be 180 degrees turned around and facing the wrong direction. It happens all the time. Ah, there's my hotel, okay. So Google Maps was working right there, I think is the O Hotel Crossroads. Kind of a 3 or 4 story there. brown brick on the outside. I did see some comments online where people were saying that all the photos of the hotel online were fake, that the hotel doesn't look nearly as nice in real life as it does in the photos. And I'll have to I'll have to figure that out myself, see if that's true or not, because the outside of it here looks pretty low rent, which is fine with me. I mean, I'm staying in a low budget hotel anyway. I don't expect it to look fancy, but I don't know, the outside of that hotel right now, it doesn't look as nice as my memory of what it looked like on Agoda. So we'll find out when I get closer and see the room, and then I'll look at the pictures on Agoda again, see just how much they were faking them. The Crossroads Hotel. All right. The power of touch and go. Let's look at the screen again and double check my balance. Yep, 45 ringgit left now. So yeah, I was thinking ahead. Before I went to Indonesia, I made sure there was money on my touch and go card for when I got back. A friend of mine and a Planet Doug sponsor stayed in Chow Kit on their visit to Kuala Lumpur, and said he chose Chow Kit because there were a lot of Pakistani restaurants, and I just noticed one right there beside the exit. I love these older stations. They're like spiders, right? There's a giant Chow Kit station and it kind of straddles the intersection like a spider. If you saw it from up above, probably look kind of cool. There it is. There's the building, Crossroads Hotel. Interesting neighborhood. Kind of what I like to see. Just a lot of interesting things around. There's a Hill Kashmir restaurant right here across the road. That looks very cool. Yeah, Chow Kit is very much a traditional kind of neighborhood. A lot of old markets, old restaurants, old buildings. Trying to find the entrance to the hotel. Ah, here it is, over here. They hid it. There's their sign. Crossroads Hotel. Reception on the first floor. Pull. I guess we have to ring the bell. They have an elevator, so I might as well use it. Hey! The elevator shot. There we are. First floor. See what my reception is like. I always like a good reception, like a warm, welcoming. I rarely get it, but I do like it when it happens. Here we go. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I do have a booking, yeah. Let's see. Just give you my passport and you can look it up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, all checked in. Room 307. They definitely failed the welcome test. No smile, no welcome, no friendliness. He just did his job. I mean, perfectly nice guy, but there was no, welcome to the hotel, sir. Nothing like that going on. Yeah, nothing at all. And let's go find 307. And they have you have to pay the 10 ringgit per night tourism tax, which is endlessly annoying. And you have to pay a 5 ringgit cleaning fee, which is something I don't like at all. Kind of feels like cleaning is what you're paying for already when you stay at a hotel, right? So if you're going to have an extra charge for cleaning, then what's to stop you from having a bed charge and a wall charge, right? It's like, why aren't they separate charges? Oh, look at that. Oh, I didn't even know that was included in the room. Kettle. I brought my own kettle, but I didn't need to. And a fridge. That's really nice. That's a bit of luxury. And let's see what else is going on here. Yeah, it definitely looks a bit different to me based on my memory of the pictures online, which is, I guess, fair play to them. I mean, they're going to put their best face forward on their Agoda listing, right? They're going to take pictures. Maybe when the hotel was brand new, maybe they still have them in stock or something, right? Anyway, whatever they do, they make sure their picture makes the room look amazing. And this looks pretty much what I was expecting for a low budget hotel. Online, the rooms look nicer than low budget, so it seemed like it was like a really good deal. I paid 39 ringgit for the room, which is unusually low. I don't know why it was listed like that on Agoda, but I paid 39 ringgit. And so yeah, you've got the bed. I'm pretty easygoing as far as pretty much everything is concerned. A hard bed, soft bed, whatever's going on with the bed, I'm usually fine with it. This is very rare for me to have a window. I was chatting a little bit with the guy. His lack of a smile, his lack of just reacting to me in any way kind of got me into a chatty mood or something. So I just sort of started teasing him a little bit so that when he got out my Agoda listing, right, I showed it to him on my phone, and then he printed it out from his computer, and the reason he printed it out was on the paper down at the bottom in the fine print. It says there is a 5 ringgit cleaning fee. So he knows he has to point that out right away. So to make it official, it's like, well, we wrote it down, 5 ringgit cleaning fee, therefore it's real. You know, we can make up the rules as we go. So he made very sure to point that out to me. And then he wanted the 50 ringgit deposit, and I don't get a receipt for that. And I don't know, the whole reception was very, and the hallway, they turned off all the lights. I guess they're saving on electricity. There's no light anywhere. Felt very dim and dark. So I kind of pushed back a little bit, and I did say to the guy, like, you know, we tend to think cleaning comes with the room. It's part of the deal. You stay at a hotel, they clean the room. The room should be clean when we get there, right? So why is there a cleaning fee? And I didn't go beyond that, but I could have gone ridiculous and says, well, if there's a cleaning fee, why not an oxygen fee? Charge us, I mean, we're breathing the air. Why not a electricity fee? On and on and on. But anyway, I kind of teased him a little bit, and I was trying to get a human reaction out of him, but he was just stone-faced the whole time. And then at the very end of it, because he wasn't reacting in any way, and I even told him about how it is in other countries like Vietnam or Indonesia, how much better the hotels are in Vietnam, for example. And I'm I'm trying to get some sort of a reaction out of him, but nothing. But then after all of that, he was sorting through a big stack of room keys, like trying to decide which room to give me, I guess. And then I joked with him and I says, well, considering all of that, I think I should get the best room you have, right? And again, he didn't even look at me, no reaction, no smile, nothing. But maybe he heard what I said, and maybe this is their best room, like for low budget. For 39 ringgit a night, you don't generally get a window. I'll tell you that. The cheapest rooms are always windowless rooms. So I'm wondering whether he picked this room just because it has a window. Oh, how's the air conditioner doing? That's it up there. I don't think it turned on automatically. I don't think. Or is it? It's got no lights. Oh yeah, it is running. Oh, a tiny light there. Oh yeah, a little bit of cold air coming out on each side. That'll do just fine. I think it'll cool down the room. And we have an outlet over here, which is nice. Bedside table, which I love. Yeah, I mean a desk and a chair and a fridge and a kettle. And last but not least, the bathroom. Ooh, some open space, hot water. Did they supply towels? Ooh, bath mat, that's very important. At the place where I was staying in Port Dickson, turned out the roof leaked in a couple of spots, not in my room, but out in the hallways. And I didn't realize this, so the hallway floor was flooded. I think I told this story already. But anyway, in the dim hallway, rushing to get to the bathroom one morning, I slipped. I came down some stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs was hard tile and covered in water that I didn't see, and my feet went out from under me, and I almost died. No exaggeration. That fall could have broken legs, could have broken my back, could have smacked my head hard, could have killed me. I came down harder than I've ever fallen in my life. It was the worst fall I've ever taken. And I just lay on the ground. I couldn't get up at first. I hit so hard, my body was like in a state of shock. And I instantly wanted to just get up, because that's what I normally do. But I was in such a state of shock, I couldn't move, and I just lay there on the floor for the longest time in the mud puddle on the floor. And I was starting to think to myself, well, someone's going to have to come find me here, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get up. But then eventually I managed to recover and I got up. So anyway, I was thinking about bath mats, because after that I took a mat I found in the hallway and I put it at the bottom of the stairs where that dangerous flood was. So now I'm never going to slip again. So anyway, that's why I was thinking about how nice it is to have a bath mat, because yeah, this doesn't look like a really slippery floor, but when a floor is wet and yeah, you hit that with your bare foot, you're going down hard. So yeah, very nice. I'm very pleased overall, despite the lack of a warm welcome and everything else. We'll see what this door means. I did read some reviews online where people were complaining that the door connected to another room, and the people in that room were incredibly noisy all night. So hopefully I have quiet neighbors. I'm normally very quiet if I'm not babbling into a GoPro, but hopefully this is not going to be a problem. So I get 'em all settled in, and I guess some final words about the hotel room and my trip to get here. I'm actually running the GoPro from my phone right now. I just sort of remember from time to time that I can do that. There's the GoPro Quick app. And I think, oh, instead of reaching all the way over there to turn on the GoPro and start recording, it's like, well, why don't I just do it on my phone? But then every time I do it, I remember why I don't do it normally, because you have to think through all the steps every time. It's not like, oh, push the button and now I have the GoPro controls. You launch GoPro Quick app and then it has to look for your camera, and then it tells you, oh, we didn't find it. You have to turn on Bluetooth on your phone. And I thought, oh, don't I always have Bluetooth on? But anyway, I guess I didn't. So then I've got to go turn on Bluetooth, and I come back, and then it says, oh, we have to create a temporary Wi-Fi network to connect to your GoPro. And I don't know what that means. Like, I just turned on Bluetooth. Like, isn't Bluetooth how you're connected? But now I have to turn on a special Wi-Fi network inside GoPro so I turn that on, and now it finds it and it connects. Anyway, it just seems like a lot by the time I'm done, and I don't know why it needs to be so complicated. It's not a big deal, but it's one of the reasons I don't do it very often. Yeah, I had a few little quirks while I was unpacking. Well, I found out more about the room. I'm very happy here. I mean, compared to where I've been staying for the past 2 months, this is just unbelievable luxury. I'm just so comfortable. Everything is so much easier when you stay in, I guess you would call this like a mid-range hotel or upper low budget. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but this is leagues higher than anything I stayed in Indonesia. And then when I was in Port Dickson, I mean, my room in Port Dickson, I mean, that was a death trap, and the unbelievable heat. And I could go on and on and on about how uncomfortable that place was, and the massive fan that I had to just, if I didn't have that huge fan on, I would roast to death. But I would turn that thing on, and the roar of it was like being inside a concert stadium with 10 jet engines. And you can't think, you can't hear anything on your phone, you can't talk to anybody. It's just like this roar. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. So that room was like the worst I've stayed in for months and months and months. Far worse than anything in Sumatra. So here with electrical outlets and kettles and refrigerators, and the more I was unpacking, the more details I picked up on. Like, the bathroom is so luxurious for me. There's hooks everywhere. They supply a little bit of shampoo, a little fancy floral shampoo, soap, towels, mirrors, shelving units. Everything is just easier to do. And sitting down on the bed, it's so comfortable. The air conditioner, it's dry in here. The air is dry. I'm not sweating to death. Oh, so nice. Yeah, it is so nice to be in a room like this. It's been a long time. Feels like it's been a long time. And I remember when I was looking at the reviews for this place, I remembered that you have to consider who's writing the review. For example, if I write about this room in a review, I would give it high praise. For 39 ringgit a night, which is what I paid to get all of this, that's amazing. It's an incredible deal, and I would recommend this to anybody. Because, I mean, I talked about how, the guy at the front desk didn't smile, didn't welcome me. There was nothing. It was like I was checking into a house of horror, and he was the serial killer. That's the mood he conveyed. And everybody that works here, they seem to be men. Even like I saw some guys cleaning the rooms. And men are just, they are what they are. I don't know whether I'm being a little bit old-fashioned here, but most men are just not suited to customer service jobs, to cleaning. They just don't know how to do any of that stuff, and they're not good at it. Some men are. If I were at the front desk, you're going to get a nice welcome. You're going to get over-the-top service. That's just who I am. But the average guy, You walk in as a customer, you're disturbing them. They're like, oh, now I have to do my job. That's men, you know. They're not designed to be welcoming you to a hotel, and they're not designed to be cleaning hotel rooms. And anyway, the whole place seems to be run by men, and so you're not going to get a very friendly welcome when you come here. And it was very dim and dark down in the lobby, and the entranceway looked really sketchy. The building looks sketchy. Everything looks old and worn out. So I can see, but anyway, what I'm saying is all that stuff I don't care about. Once I'm in the room, it's like, okay, this is amazing. All that stuff is fine with me. And then the room itself is incredible. So yeah, I would give this place high praise. But I saw some reviews that were like 1 star, and they say, we checked into our room and the towel had stains on it. And I opened up my towel, the first one I used, yeah, it had stains on it. But what do I care about that? I mean, if the towel didn't have stains, I would be surprised, because everywhere I stay, I'm lucky if I get a towel. It's like, wow, you got a towel. I got 2 towels here, and they always are stained. That's normal. So the type of person who comes into a hotel room like this and is shocked that there's a stain on the bed sheet or the pillowcase or the towel, I mean, they're used to a higher class of hotel. So you have to take into consideration who is writing the review. This is basically what I'm saying. So yeah, very happy here. when I was settling in, I was plugging in my electronics, and this is one of my adapters that goes from 2 pins to North American prongs, like the flat prongs. This is something I bought a whole kit of these from a company called Sea to Summit, and I plugged this in, and then I realized there were 2 plugs over here. So I thought, oh, I can unplug this one and put it in the top plug. And then I tried to unplug it, and the rubber part ripped right off. And then I had the bare electrified terminals. And for like 1/10 of a second, I almost, because I wanted to pull it out, and this came off. I was like, oh. And I was going to grab hold of these and pull it out. But of course, those are bare metal bits that are now connected to the electrical current. So had I grabbed that, it would have given me a pretty bad shock. So I stopped myself. And then I had to figure out, how in the world do I get this out of the socket without killing myself? So I turned off the power. That's why in the time lapse I held up the room card, because I made sure to pull the room card out so that there's no power here. But then I plugged something into this outlet to see if this red light would come on, and the red light didn't come on. So that told me, okay, there's no electricity now. But even then, I made sure to get out a knife, and then I put it into the plastic part and pried it out. I still didn't dare touch the bare metal, and I eventually popped this out. But as far as I can tell, this might be broken forever. I'm going to have to fiddle with this a little bit. It looks like there's a metal screw that holds it in place, and it tore out. I think I might be able to fix it, because these are actually quite expensive and they're very, very handy. So I think I'll try to repair this so I can keep using it. I've got 2 of these, and I'm always worried I'm going to lose them, because I use these things all the time. They're nice little adapters. So here I am, settled in. I still have Relive running on my phone, and I have Strava running, and I have all the photos I took today. So now I have to settle in. I have to stop Relive, save the activity, Strava, save the activity, upload all my photos, and then I have to download all the video I shot today to my amazing laptop, and start being a YouTuber again, start editing video. One thing I realized, again, this is a customer service thing. As soon as I got into the room and I started unpacking, I went, Wi-Fi. I didn't ask them about the Wi-Fi password. It's like, oh, for Pete's sake. And again, if I were working at the front desk, every guest who came in would get like a welcome package that included the information about their room, their neighborhood, places to get water to drink, food to eat, and it would have the Wi-Fi password, have all the information they need for a pleasant stay at my hotel. I would put that together on my own time if I were a front desk clerk at a hotel. It would be fun to do. Yeah, but anyway, I have to find out. Now I have to go all the way back down and find out what the Wi-Fi password is, because I don't see it listed anywhere in here. Yeah, I always forget. I always forget to ask for the password. Hopefully I have a mobile connection in here, and then I can do some work, and then I can go down and get the password. Anyway, so that is it. I'm not sure what time I left this morning. What time did I leave? Around 11, I guess. 11 o'clock from my room in Port Dickson, or maybe quarter to like 11:30, something like that. And then here it is now, well, I don't know what time it is. I'm gonna check my other phone. It is 6 o'clock and I'm all settled in. So it was a pretty long day, 6, 7 hours, walking to the bus station, bus to Seremban. They drop you off right at the KTM train station, which is amazing. Train. And the monorail took a long time. That was a long trip on the monorail. It's a very slow train. The KTM train was slow. The monorail was slow. And then settling in. But yeah, pretty good day. Enjoyed that a lot. And I think that is it. I won't be going out with my GoPro tonight. I'll probably go out and get something to eat, but I'm done for the day as far as my video adventures are concerned. And I'll check back in with you tomorrow, when I guess I'll be going straight to the Canadian Embassy and begin this process of getting a new passport, or renewing my old passport. That's what I'm hoping to be able to do, to just keep my current passport number, but just renew it. And I think that's faster, easier. Like, to get a new passport as a Canadian, I have to have references. So I have to get people in Canada who have known me for 10 years and can vouch for my identity. And the embassy will call them. I've done this in the past. They call all my references, and you can't get the application started until they get them on the phone and actually have a phone interview with them about me and who I am, confirming my identity. And I don't know anybody in Canada anymore. So for me to get a reference in Canada, it's really hard for me to do. I'm out of contact with everybody. So, every 10 years, I have to try and figure out how to do this, or every 5 years to get a new passport. It's not easy to do. But I think if I renew my passport, then I don't need references. I have to bring in my old passport and maybe proof of Canadian birth. I have my birth certificate. I carry all of my Canadian ID with me around the world, since I don't have a home anywhere. So I bring everything with me all the time. My university diplomas and reference letters and resume and birth certificate, driver's license from Canada, now expired, but all my ID from Canada, everything, I carry it with me all the time because I don't have a home. So I have to. So I have to bring in, I think, my birth certificate, my old passport, and if I renew my passport, I don't have to have references, I think. Well, fingers crossed. I'll find out tomorrow morning. So that's it. Shutting down. I just want to remind everyone that there is the Planet Doug Patreon. Go check that out, and if you want to get involved with the Patreon. And yeah, and I post photos and bonus videos and things like that, updates to the Patreon. So it'd be nice to see you there. But anyway, you don't have to join the Planet Doug Patreon. You can still see all the public postings as well. So yeah, go check that out. So that's it. Shutting down at the end of a travel day. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.